When I'm walking down the street.
I do want to say to Doni and many of you in this room that over a very long career in this city, all of you have helped me and my colleagues tell the truth and to try to tell.
I may not look like you and you me, but
my head up.
I'm from South Carolina, so I just.
What does this event mean to you, Miss Peggy Moss?
Oh, my heart.
Happy 20th anniversary.
My heart is about loving up on my sisters. Do you know what it feels like to have your sisters in the room? Done.
And dare to be different and unique. I'm gonna be the best me I can be by letting His glory shine through. I am beautiful, I am blessed, but not just what you see in the flesh. I'm free from people, free from myself. There's a
the doctor lived next door to the janitor, to the reverend, and the lawyer. We were together. Now we get so high and mighty that you create stress for your society because you don't like poor black folks either. That's a health problem. Get yourself together so I can stop being taking care of geriatric people and get back to pediatrics. I thank you, Doni, for all you've done. Let's keep doing it all the more.
letting His glory shine through. Dare to be you, dare to be me, dare to be different and unique. I'm gonna be the best me I can be by letting His glory shine through. And I dare you, I dare you, I dare you to be you.
First name's Doni, last name's Glover. Entered the winner for the long haul, baby. This is a glorious day in the Lord. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Donald Trump got indicted. Hallelujah. Amen. Somebody look to your neighbor, say, neighbor, oh neighbor, that ass is going to jail. Okay, praise the Lord. All right, I just had to get that in. I'm sorry, Pam. I got a little excited. Pam, did you see it? Donald Trump got indicted.
Yes, but he's probably not going to go to jail. You know that, right?
Well, I had to wistful think for a minute.
But the thing that really, good morning. Thanks for having me. The thing that really is that I thought of first was that the DA, the black guy in New York, the attorney, to really wear a bulletproof vest. I was afraid for him. I was afraid for him pretty much the way I felt like
like Barack Obama the first 4 years?
No, I felt like MLK. Like, we really need to make sure that he's safe. That was the way I felt, that there's so much hate out here that people are crazy. I mean, if they're shooting up schools and killing little kids, the way President Trump riles up hate, they've got to make sure that this black man is safe. That was my first thing, because I'm telling you, I just was like, oh my God, because he was the one that really was the one that kept pushing this.
Wasn't it a black woman pushing it at first?
I thought it was him. His campaign was the one that he really was saying, hey, this is what we're going to do because it was wrong. And he's just really a person that is just trying to do his job. But I'm telling you, it's just not,
Hold up. They done locked up your cousins, my cousins, our neighbors' cousins. They got more black people locked up than anywhere in the world. This country has more inmates than China, which is 3-4 times bigger than us. And it's all black people. Hey, look, somebody might have to take a hit for this devil to get what he deserves, but he's a rotten somebody. I remember he was fussing with that little girl. He should be locked up for fussing with that little girl.
Doni, if he does get locked up, the person who is instrumental in locking him up is the one that we need to be worried about.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying, because my heart, I mean, just like all of our quote unquote heroes, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, there are so many that you know, we could even go back of just innocent people, Emmett Till. I mean, there's just a whole litany of Black people that will get hurt if we don't really keep them covered with prayer and really making sure that they stay safe. Because I'm telling you, it is
Pam, here in Baltimore a few years ago, over a decade, a family of 5 got firebombed and they died.
See,
It's called the Dawson family.
see,
They got firebombed because they stood up against drug dealers
see,
who wanted to sell dope on their front.
yeah,
So that list of martyrs and heroes for Black America has expanded.
yeah.
And the hero and the people doing the killing has been expanded. So
We don't want this DA to be a martyr. We really don't. We don't want him to be a martyr.
well,
We want to make
it's
sure
already a war.
right.
No, we don't want that.
Right.
We don't want it. But we can't be scared anymore either. See, remember they did lynchings. They would lynch somebody. They would do it in public, and then they would leave the body up there to instill fear in the rest of us. And he's not having it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Suppose the dope man posted up on your corner, and you
Mhm.
call the police, and the police don't come.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But you got kids.
Even if there's not quote unquote hurt, it's kind of like I remember with just making his life so crazy.
I don't want him to run for president. That's what I want. I want him out of the game.
Who, Alvin Bragg?
No, Trump. I don't want Trump
okay.
in any position to ever represent this country again. That's what I want. I don't care where they put him. Just put him out of politics because he's a traitor. If Black people stormed the walls of the Capitol, we would have been shot. So at the least, they should remove him from the political scene. He's a moron.
I want to know who is going to be on the jury for this.
It should be everyday people, some Black, some white.
Woo, that's going to be a you know, if I lived in that area, who you know, I get that in the mail, and it's like, okay, I'm coming down here, and they're going to be interviewing me. I don't know who is everybody is so black and white about Trump. I don't think there's any gray, right? There's any gray, impartial. Either you're feeling this way, or who is going to be on the jury that for this and that? You know, it's like, because I've been on a jury before, and they ask you questions. Do you know? And you know, do you feel this? And I just know they're going to probably go through hundreds of people. It's like, nope, they're not going to be a good fit for the jury.
I want him to have to go through it. We have brothers, we have Black women who are the fastest growing demographic in prison. Yes, I want him to have that experience. How many conversations have you had in your world, in your community, not publicly, but people you know who have been dealing with adjudication, dealing with the system? I talked to a brother yesterday, Mr. Rudy. He's been on the show. He was incarcerated for 31 years. Granted, Mr. Rudy did something. He broke some kind of law. They ain't just keep him for no reason.
But for 31 years.
A childhood friend of mine came home after 42 years. He got locked up when we were 14. He's just coming home.
It's just, it's not even about, sometimes I think about just the embarrassment or the shame of the.
I want him to smell a dirty jail cell. I want him to smell a filthy jail cell.
But Donald, think about this too. Other people around the country, and we know, you know, we could feel one way or another, but our officer of the highest office in the United States goes, that has to have, like, for someone who lives in London or someone who lives in Ireland, it's like, well, what's going on in the United States over here?
No. In other countries, they would say, what took y'all so long? See, in those Middle Eastern
I don't know. I would like you to have someone from another country to really come on, because I mean, that would be like putting the Queen of England in jail. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, well, what?
So she's a criminal. Look, hold up. Have you been in her basement? They've stolen artifacts. They've stolen King Tut stuff. They've dug up our ancestors. Yeah, they deserve to be locked up. If the Pope stole anything, he should be locked up too. Why ain't there never been a black pope? Oh, Christianity started in Africa, and we ain't never seen a black pope in our lifetime. Who the hell hijacks a religion? There's never been a black pope. What's that all about?
I don't know. I don't know anything about Catholicism at all. I just know it's a religion. Jesus didn't come to bring religion anyway, so that's a whole nother
Why
conversation.
the pope always white?
But I don't.
Hold up.
Religion is a man-made tool. He did not bring quote unquote religion per se, because there's just a whole. I mean, Baptists, that was not like the vision. But getting back to how we're seen, how the United States is seen, it's sad. It's really
the same
sad.
thing. It's racism.
You
can lock me up. You can shoot Dr. King. You can shoot Malcolm X. But somehow I'm going to catch feelings about Trump going down central booking.
It's not even, it's like I said, it is Trump, but it is also our highest office, right?
He disrespected it, not us. He disrespected it.
But when you look at the whole part of it, that it was the office, not the man. It was the office. And that's what I'm saying.
It was
the stain on the office is still there. It's going to be there for a while. It used to be when people were young, and if they said something that I really, what do you want to be when you grow up, little boy, little girl, right? I want to be president. But now that doesn't have the same esteem anymore, because
that's why he got to be locked up, because he disrespected it. That's like somebody disrespecting Big Mama's house. You can clown out front, you can clown down the street, but you come up in Big Mama's house and clown at the dining room table. Oh yeah, you got to get it. Would your grandmother allow that? Would Big Mama allow that?
No.
And nobody around her would allow it. They chop his head off and put him out back. And that's what Donald Trump gonna get.
I will say this, though, that a lot of things that are going on with Donald Trump and Stormy Daniels, and then there's the other ones where it's going to be the January 6th, and it's going to be a lot of different situations where he's going to be indicted or looking to get indicted, and it's just one of many, which is like, again, like I said, pretty sad for the office of the president. People are just saying, though, he won't be
black people, Pam, who have been mass incarcerated. What about us? Who feels sorry for us? Who says it's a damn shame that America has as many inmates as China, and half of them are black? Who says that about us? Where are our reparations? Where are our money from the Freedmen's Bank? Where's our Homestead Act? Where are our reparations? Nobody feels sorry for us, and I don't feel sorry for them. And they had a 400-year head start.
Well, one of the things that I'm looking at, some of the headlines here, again, he is a former president, just like Clinton is, just like Jimmy Carter is, just like, Barack Obama. It says Trump may face.
Not like them.
No, but I'm just saying, but how we feel about it is one way, but the truth of it is he was a one-term president, just like a lot of people. I mean, he never ran for any political office, and that's just like, wow, look what money can
the
do.
Democrats were that sorry.
Look what reality stardom could do. And a lot
of people, the Democrats put up that Todd lady, Hillary Clinton. They have all of the people. They tried to rehash this Todd lady who was a part of taking money out of Haiti. She was a part of the three strikes, the omnibus crime bill of '94. The Democrats.
But it doesn't even seem like, Donnie, it doesn't even seem like what they do. It just seems like who they are, what they represent. And this is where advertising, PR, and branding comes in. Just like Kanye West was trying to run, and anyone else who's quote unquote famous or popular, or, hey, maybe Kim Kardashian wants to run. I mean, it's like their values or their beliefs or the things that they do are secondary to the perceptions that people have about them. So you could think of someone who's a reality star. I don't know, Denzel Washington. I mean, it's like, really? So we're talking, a lot of people say, well, we need someone really not so famous in office. But I think because of social media, Twitter or whatever, people are just so involved in politics that have nothing to do with how they are, but just what they perceive.
Look at our
And
world, Pam. This is not the world that we envision. I mean, I understand technology is going, but look at our values today.
oh, that's because we can see everything on the phone in real time. It says last night, Trump rages online after an indictment. It's like, okay, we're raging online. It's just so much that sometimes people have to put a muzzle on their mouth. I think people just say too much too fast, and it stays there forever. It stays there forever. It could be something that someone said 10 years ago. I remember, who was that? Was it Kevin Hart, I believe? He said something on Twitter years ago, and then all of a sudden it was like, no, he was canceled. I was like, he said that 10 years ago. But the whole part of it is,
Pam, racism is real in America. Donald Trump gets
it's been racism since time.
Donald Trump has done worse than Kevin Hart, Cat Williams, and all of these people combined. He jeopardized the well-being of our country. He encouraged a treasonous raid of the Capitol that almost killed his vice president and other members of Congress, and has not been called on the carpet and held accountable for those egregious actions. That's unacceptable.
What do you think about his Pence's comments yesterday?
What did he say?
Pence basically was saying that it was a political move, and he really stood up for him, which I was surprised that he would say anything.
He won his job back.
I don't know if he went out. I don't even think he's gonna try and go for that job, but it was something that I felt that the Republicans really encouraged him to say. I don't know if it was true.
That sounds like fear and intimidation. Let me tell you, ask me why I didn't pledge Omega Psi Phi back in '83.
What?
Because them dudes were big Van Diesel cats, and had some of them put their hands on me, see, I would have had to go into my closet and pull out a spear or something.
Well,
or 38. But you ain't gonna be beating up on Donnie Glover at all, ever.
Well, one of the things you could have did, hazing is illegal. If you were hazed, you could have went to.
You knew what was going to happen.
But I'm just saying, you could have shut that chapter down, and some chapters have been shut down. I know that one in Michigan was shut down.
You know how they get down. You know you ain't down with it, so you're gonna go the other way. Plus, I didn't need help getting a girlfriend. A lot of them cats joined the fraternities because they couldn't get no girlfriend, and that's never been.
I'm not going there. I'm not going there because I know too many people that are alphas and all that kind of thing, and they had plenty of girlfriends before they played.
Until they put that jacket on, then now they normal. Okay.
Don't just single out the Omegas. It's the Kappas, the Alphas, all of them.
Omegas were the first frat I saw. To their credit, they came to my neighborhood. They came through Mondawmin Mall. And I didn't see no Kappas. I didn't see no Alphas. I saw these brothers coming through, look like soldiers. It hurt. I remember the soldier part. Looked like soldiers.
Well, MLK was an alpha, so that was like one of the things that was like, and I guess a lot of people do grad chapter, but I'm just saying that you could have reported them. You could have reported them, and that chapter could have been gone. I mean, they're suspended for so many years. It could be 5 years, it could be 10 years or whatever. Then you're blacklisted, right? Then you're canceled.
I would never do that. I would never have too much respect for them.
Well, I'm just saying
that these some big burly dudes. And I'm like, you will not be whipping my ass up and down the street. Not today. And I ain't pay you on top of that. Anyway, Trump sounds like he got Pence mind locked. Sounds like Pence is shook up because I know they were trying to get him on J6 Day. So that's what I'm saying. You just tried to run me over, hit me, hurt me, and then I'm going to support you. He sound worse than Melania Trump because she looked like a hostage too.
I haven't heard anything about Melania, what that was about. I don't know what that situation is. That would be the movie I would want to see completely from beginning to end.
We need to put a plug in. You want me to put a banner up that says PamPerryPR.com?
Oh, you can. I see what it
Famous.
says. You have Terra Cafe. Okay, so you just have other things up there as well. Yeah, because I
we
really
gonna get
provide
these.
people with quick media coverage. A lot of times people are, I say sometimes good media dealing with people may take 4 to 6 months, the very least, like 4 to 6 months to really kind of get themselves moving and grooving. But people don't want to wait that long. They don't even wait 4 to 6 weeks. It's more or less like 4 to 6 days.
Where's your magazine, Pam? Bam. Speakers.
This is March. This is February.
Did you get yourself a theme song yet? We should have some theme music. You need some theme music, Pam.
If there's a song that I really, really like, is Kelly Price's It's Your Time to Shine. And I just like that song because, it's Kelly Price's thing, just saying it's your time to shine. And so many times people want PR, but they're not feel real confident about shining. So, when I say, hey, you're going to be on the cover, it's like, oh, yeah, I'm excited for a minute. And then sometimes it's like, oh, my God, I'm going to be out there and I'm shining. And so I like Kelly Price's song. It's your time to shine. It basically talks about winning. And it's a confidence factor because, if I even look at like Sherwood or whatever, they're confident, Lisa Nichols or those kind of things. But the average person does not want that spotlight. And they come to me as a publicist, and then I have to convince them that they need to go into the spotlight. And it's like, why did you come to me if you don't want the spotlight? That's what's going to happen. But you will find that a lot of people don't want that spotlight on them. I don't know for whatever reason, but
Pam, something dawned on me.
What?
Did you have to convince yourself to go on the cover?
I did. Because I didn't want to be that, like, I'm the publisher and I'm on the cover. Now, I don't mind being on the cover of someone else's magazine. I was on the cover of Courageous Woman magazine. That was fine because that was them talking about me. If I'm on the cover, it's like, of course I could be on the cover. I'm the publisher.
Well, you should be on there at least once every now and then because you lead by example. You are not the kind of person that's on every cover. You and I know people who are always on the cover of their publication, and it's tired.
Yeah.
But that's not you. You lift up people.
I was on there that one time when Jessica Mosley asked me, she says, you're going to get the Lifetime Achievement from Miss CEO. Miss CEO, she actually had a magazine, and she says, I want you on the cover. I said, well, you're going to be on the cover. We're having your event. She says, no, I want you because you're getting the Lifetime Achievement. I said, okay. And that was October 2018, I think it was, or something like that.
People know that about you. You didn't build it for you.
No,
I didn't. Your clients. But people know that about you, your integrity.
Yeah, I didn't build it for me. I actually built it to put other people on the platform. And the reason why was because the Black press was the one that would share our messages, whether it was the Afro or, any of, what you're doing, NMPA, Ben Chavis's, all his newspapers, I think it's 130 newspapers that are part of it, Black radio stations, whether it's Radio One, they were the only places that would share our messages. And it's, well, why do you have to have the Black press? Why do you have? Well, because the white press wouldn't write our stories. So it's not anything new. It's the Afro is 130 years old. 130 years old. Still going strong.
I just got a call yesterday from Morgan State.
MSU.
And I have to do my capstone project.
What's the capstone?
Capstone is your defining piece before I get admitted back into grad school so that I can get out of grad school. I left some money on the table, and so I have to go back and do some work. Okay. And so the topic that I always talk about is what you just said, the Black press.
I love the Black press. The reason why it started, Frederick Douglass had a newspaper. I mean, there's the Afro was actually started by Bishop Vashti McKenzie's grandfather, I believe.
Actually, it was pulling together of 3 different publications in the basement of Sharon Baptist Church, and the pastor of that church went home to glory a couple of weeks ago, and his funeral is tomorrow, Dr. A.C.D. Vaughn. The church is just around the corner from me, Sharon Baptist. But John Murphy took 3 publications out of the basement of the church, combined them, and in 1892, he formulated the Afro. But March 16th, we celebrated the 196th anniversary of the Black Press, the first Black newspaper, Freedom's Journal, founded by John Russworm and Sam Cornish and others in New York City, the same year that slavery was abolished. We celebrated that on March 16th, 196 years of the Black Press. And so the project I want to look at for my capstone project is the viability of the Black Press, why we need the Black Press, what's stymieing the Black Press in an era of digitalization. This is the newspaper now.
Well, one of the things that the Afro is doing is that they have a digital newsletter. You know, they still have the newspaper. It goes out to, I think they said 15,000 people. And I talked to Craig, was his name, about sales. And he was giving me different ways where people can advertise on the banner of the newspaper, the email marketing that they do, the videos that they have, the spot. I mean, so they have to be creative in terms of how they're positioning the paper. I mean, obviously people have to pay for the paper, but they don't pay for the website. You don't have to pay.
So Pam, a few years back, the NNPA, the National Newspaper Publishers Association, invited BeMoreNews.com out to their national convention.
Okay.
And I taught a class on how to get digital ads.
Yeah.
How to sell digital advertising.
This
is a brand new field. Before, you would sell ads for a newspaper. But this online thing, these ads down here, this is 21st century stuff.
It's what they call programmatic advertising. Programmatic advertising. And programmatic advertising means it's part of a program overall that's digital. And it's a whole, agencies buy programmatic advertising. If you are in the SRDS, Standard Rate and Data Service magazine, it's about this thick, and they have all of the publications around the world basically in the SRDS. And if you're not in there, that means an ad agency who represents a client can't buy you. So in order to get into SRDS, it costs money. So, and that's usually like the access to capital kind of situation. It's like, okay, well, in order to get money, I got to have money in order to try and get the money, that whole thing. But you do need to understand that there's a conference called the niche marketing conference, I believe it is, that talks about niche publications. There's farm publications that are making money. There are tiny little magazines that are in some kind of boondocks. They're making money because they understand digital marketing. They understand programmatic advertising. The Black Press, because you taught that in NPA, it's a whole new thing. But we can't always be behind. We're probably 10 or 15 years behind what they already know. So some farm
I'm going to add this, Pam. They have always had their games that they've tried to shut us out of. They've always, just like Trump. Now, because it's him going through this situation. Oh, well, we've been going through this since our first interaction with the European. We have always had to have another way. We have always benefited. We've always had to create our own reality, because some of us will get into the SRDS, but most of us, I imagine, won't ever even hear of the SRDS. Do you remember when you had the street numbers?
I remember the street numbers, and now it's like not even necessary because we have the lottery. So what's the point?
The street numbers are still in effect. We will always have our underground ways of hustling. Do you remember the Green Book?
They made a movie about that.
We needed a Green Book because they wouldn't put us in their white pages or yellow pages in the same way.
Mm-hmm.
So we've always had our alternative. Like cannabis is on. Now you can sell cannabis legally in some places. You couldn't do that before.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Well,
would you advertise a cannabis business in your magazine?
probably not. It's not, I mean, because it's a trade publication for speakers. So it's just kind of like, that's weird. What does that have to do with speaking? But
Suppose
it's
it's a
probably
speaker speaking on how to make money with cannabis. What I'm saying is it's something we have been demonized and incarcerated for, but now that it's legal and they have kept us out of the game with the $10 million price tag, now it's okay to talk about marijuana and brownies and all of the things that go with it. I'm just saying, I'm not one to wait on them. I'm going to go and create my own.
And one of the things I wanted to read about programmatic media buying, and this is what it is. This is a definition because I just learned about it a couple of years ago at the niche conference. And it's not like we can't go to these conferences. They're not keeping us out. We can definitely go. Google is free. But programmatic advertising is a use of automated technology for media buying, the process of buying advertising space, as opposed to traditional, which is manual methods of digital advertising. Programmatic media buying utilizes data insights, which we definitely have to make sure, and algorithms, which is basically open to everybody, to serve ads to the right user at the right time at the right price. So basically, you just need to have the data and the algorithm in order to get the advertising. That doesn't have anything to do with racism because it's technology.
AI is very much racist. Have you ever been blocked on Facebook?
It wasn't because of AI though. It was because someone broke into my account.
I'm saying those people in their games will perpetuate. They blocked me, took my page with 200,000. And so as a black media professional, they're still damn racist. They want to call us racist because we want to talk about black history. We want to talk about Emmett Till. We want our children to know about John Brown, who stood up for black people during slavery. We want our children and we want other people's children to know the truth. What we don't want is people telling us, oh, you have to ban Donnie's Glover unapologetically black. Who the hell are you to ban my book?
Oh, right.
And now you mentioned AI. People are using AI to write term papers, theses, books.
People can't sleep on that. I had someone yesterday ask me about Chat GPT, and I told Don, I said it's going to be a tool that people are going to use very regularly. You've got to learn how to use it now, because it's going to be part of our life, just like cell phones are a part of our life. I mean, just like Google is like, it's a verb. So yeah, you do have to learn how to use it, but you use it not from the standpoint that people are keeping you out. It's just a matter of just getting in and just not refusing to say, hey, I'm not going to be kept out, because you can learn anything. And then once you learn it, you teach other people to do it. And that's exactly what I do all the time. I said, you know what? It's a certain point in time. If I want to have an event, I want to share all this information. Nobody can stop me. If I want to do a whole event about how to use AI or how to use programmatic advertising, it's basically, I could even have some experts come and speak, and they would love to. They're not going to say, oh, no, we're not going to come because it's going to be black people there. They would come and speak. We just have to ask them.
We have to understand our value. We are top consumers in the world. Black people these days are talking about trips to Dubai.
Often. I know.
Does that concern you?
I don't have anything against Dubai. I think I'd rather, if I'm going to travel that far, I think I'd rather go to the motherland. I'd rather go to South Africa. I'd rather go to Liberia. I'd rather go to somewhere on the Ivory Coast. Dubai just doesn't really float my boat. I do have a friend that lives there.
They call us Jay-Z and LeBron and Beyonce. We are known internationally because of our rap stars and entertainers and athletes.
We're creative people, so that's probably one of the main things.
I'm
We are very
troubled by that
creative.
because we are more than just performers who dance and shake our butt.
I don't even think that's performer. I think that's
I
that's
do.
a whole level of
I
creativity
do.
that other people don't really
I
have.
think it also has to do with media, the media presentation. Why isn't this the image of Black America? This snapshot right here. Why this right here? Why isn't this the snapshot? Are we
When you
not doing anything? Maybe we're not outlandish. Maybe we're not buffoonish. I mean, because I think we do more than dance and throw a ball or do a finger roll.
I
We
just
are
think that
scientists, we're
any
doctors, we're judges, we're Supreme Court justices, we are lawyers, we're physicians, we are business owners and CEOs. Not all of us want our daughter presented in public.
I told someone the other day, I said, if we
Look
just
what
go
America's doing to our daughters, Pam.
if we just go back 50 years, we're playing catch up. But anything that we get in, we dominate. You know,
Yeah,
from
but look
golf,
what they
from
celebrate. They celebrate us in our raunchiest.
no, not
Yes,
necessarily.
yes.
I
Our
mean, Venus and
raunchiest.
Serena aren't raunchy.
Huh?
Venus and Serena aren't raunchy.
No, they're not raunchy, but America will celebrate the raunchiest Black people, the ones who look like they'd rather be on a pole.
Well, I will say this. I don't watch a lot of reality TV, but I know a lot of Black people that will watch all this craziness on Love and Hip Hop or, I mean, the reality shows, I don't want to start naming them, but a lot of the Black people are on these shows and they are showing their behind and
Shameful.
people, but it's, if we stop participating in it, it will go away. But Black people participate in it, like it, love it, share it, and celebrate it. And then they become famous. I don't know who, I don't know all the names of some of them, but some of them are like, well, you know them, they're from whatever show. And it's like, really? I was like, that's a show? But I don't watch that. I don't participate in that. But that's what's celebrated. It's not just quote
I
unquote white
applaud
people
you.
celebrate it. Black people celebrate it too. When you look at certain things, it's like, why is that?
Because we have lost our mind. Where are our values anymore? Anyway, you doing PR. I don't want to steal your time. Let me just shut up. Who you got today?
Well, I will say there is a person that Deidre Moore, she actually was in Blavity. I don't know if you could pull this up or not, but she was in Blavity. You know Blavity is, right? Blavity.com, Blavity.org, or whatever it is. But her book really came about because her son was talking to a Jewish schoolmate. They were on a school bus. I think it was in elementary school, and the little Jewish little boy was talking about his history and about different things that he knew about his history because they tell it and they share the stories down. So the little Black boy came home and asked his mother certain questions about slavery and this and that. And it was like she couldn't believe that he didn't know, but how would he know if he's not taught? So anyway, she wrote a book and it was called From Me to You. And she went on and she won the World Forum, I think it's World Forum Person of the Year. She's an attorney out of New York, representing, people and, in the legal system. But her heart is really to share the stories. And so if you Google Deidre Moore, I mean, just over the last few, she's kind of like a storyteller, but she's really storytelling African-American history. And it is, it's one of those things. It's like, she says, for many of our Black and brown children, it seems that everyone has an opinion and particular viewpoint about who we are and what our lives are worth. The problem is that often the messages are negative and are routinely communicated in such negative light that in almost industry across the nation, the stories are always framed in a way that serve to oppress and handicap people on account of their race. So really, she talked about taking his story, and telling it in our way. And that's what she talks about. She talks about the journey of African-American people, the struggles, the sacrifices of our ancestors. But she did it in a book format where someone who is in elementary, middle school can read it and want to read it. And so anyway, so that has been her mission. She already had a job. She's a busy mom, but this piece of work really talked about untold gems of our history. And she feels that the book is called From Me to You, The Power of Storytelling and Its Inherent Generational Wealth, an African American Story. And so really the whole thing is retelling our story to her, what she was doing at that time, to her 8-year-old son. And basically the little boy, the Jewish boy, was talking about the Holocaust. But the little boy didn't know, he's Jewish descent. He didn't really know, the Black boy didn't really know much about his history. And she felt like, I need to tell our story so he knows about it as well. Of course, Jewish people will know their stories because it's told over and over in things. But like you were saying earlier, that sometimes they want to ban our books. They want to not tell our stories. So she was
or
like,
steal our books altogether, or bury them in the Queen of London's basement. Pam, who is the next Pam Perry?
who is the next Pam Perry? I don't know. There's not going to be another next Pam Perry. Everybody is their own individual person. I will say I really, really love what Angie Collins is doing. And Angie's in LA. And Angie's OG like me. She's an OG PR person. And she has an organization where she is mentoring other publicists. And that's like her main thing, women in PR. Primarily African American women, but they're usually millennial or, Gen X, Gen Ys, helping them do that kind of thing. And she's really talking to them about PR. But I just talked to Angie yesterday, and she was saying PR has changed so much from the 20, 30 years that we've been into it, that a lot of the people that really come in PR now just think it's like they're the star in the PR. It's a different kind of a thing. It's like if we go and we're promoting a client and maybe the client is on the red carpet, you better believe that publicist, the younger publicist, will be on the red carpet as well. Whereas before we were always like, we're going to be in the background.
So does that mean you are now on the red carpet?
It's a whole different world, because remember when we started, we didn't have social media. So why would we take a picture or take a selfie with someone? It was like we were always orchestrating things. So, but now we got to realize that people want to see us. It's so weird. It's when I say OG, it's like the old gangsters of PR. We weren't doing that before because we were putting our clients out there. But because of social media, we can now go on the red carpet and take a selfie with whoever the celebrity is, because and then you share it, and then that quote unquote gets you business, where before we didn't do that. It's a whole nother thing. But Angie Collins is a person I admire. And then also too, I have a whole cadre of other PR people that Candace Nicole, she's doing really, really good. She has a Facebook group called Respect the Publicist. I really love what she's doing. So my podcast, Get Out There and Get Known, I interview other PR colleagues. That's what we do. And we kind of talk shop. We talk about how it's changing, how people just think that they can write press releases using Chat GPT and how they can pitch. And it's just really, really funny. But of course, we're still always going to be aligned with NABJ and NMPA, National Association of Black Journalists, and National Newspapers Publishers Association. Those are, for us, those are the people who give us the first shot, so to speak. NABJ, the Black Journalists, and the National Newspaper Publishers Association. I don't know if there's one for broadcast per se, because, well, NABJ is both print and broadcast, but yeah, there is. I think there's one called, not National Association of Broadcasters, because that's but there was one by Plurio Marshall, I believe.
Plurio Marshall.
Yeah, he was over at broadcast.
Is he still around?
His son is.
I would love to speak with him. His Gloria came to my school back in '94.
Yep. Gloria Marshall.
And he had a group. It was a media group.
Yeah, it was a broadcast media group. Yeah, it was a broadcast media group. I think
can't remember the name.
Plural Marshal Senior, because he has a son that is it was the National Black Media Coalition. It was a National Black Media Coalition. Yep, he founded it in 1973. Mm-hmm. Yep, he was one of the ones that basically was pulling a lot of, he helped also founded NABJ, which mostly was kind of print, but he really helped with the National Association of Radio and TV Announcers, and doing a lot with the broadcast. That was his name.
NNPA keeping up with the times?
NABJ?
No, NNPA, the National Newspaper Publishers Association, the collection of black newspapers. Are they keeping up with the times?
No. I'd just say no. Just from the standpoint that I went to the Niche Media Conference, and they should have been there, and they weren't, so they can learn about programmatic advertising, and they were not there.
I want them to learn about programmatic advertising, but I want us to create our own system. See, whatever we put our hands on, we turn it to gold. Mm-hmm. When I see these rappers taking this liquor brand and they making it famous and they putting their name on it, we can make anything famous.
Yeah.
Why don't we start at home?
I think as far as African people of African descent, anything that we put our attention and effort and energy towards becomes number one. I really, really believe that.
That's what my problem is with us going to Dubai. I'm going to Dubai. Well, take your ass to Africa too. Start at home.
How about that? How about that part?
I mean, everybody has exploited Africa, and some of us don't read books. If it's not on the internet, we don't want to read a book.
I love books. This is a book here. This one is Speak Up. This is an anthology, The Ultimate Guide to Dominate the Speaking Industry. I think every speaker should have this book. It's an anthology of 30 African-American speakers. The foreword is by Dr. George Fraser. The afterword is by Les Brown. A lot of speakers have not even heard of George Fraser or Les Brown. They out here like
love Les Brown. Let me ask you this: are our George Frasers, our Dr. Claude Andersons, are our well-known black brothers passing the ball to the next generation, like you're passing the ball to the next generation?
Like Dr. Dennis Kimbrough? Yes. If you look at Dr. Dennis Kimbrough, George Fraser,
Willie Jolly.
Yes, they are. They definitely have their proteges that they feed into. They speak to young people a lot if they listen. Sometimes if they're not on YouTube or doing TikToks, they may not feel like, the younger people may not feel they're relevant.
And we're both wrong. If I discount the young people, I'm wrong. If the young people discount me, they're wrong.
Right.
Exactly. We both lose out.
Can you hold on 1 second?
Yeah.
Hold on 1 second. I've got to stop my camera. Okay. All right.
So we're talking with Pam Perry, folks. She does Pam Perry PR out of Detroit, Michigan, and other places nationally known. Rodney Burris, we're going to be bringing you up, I presume, soon. But nonetheless, we want you to take a moment and do peep our advertisers, STEM City USA, Salvation Army of Maryland, Mr. Billy Murphy, attorney extraordinaire, Next Phase Cafe, live entertainment throughout the week at Next Phase. Commercial construction, put in a plug for Baltimore Collegiate, School for Boys, also some of our others, including attorney Bob DeShield, especially if you have business matters. Habitat for Humanity, they will be coming up next. Salvation Army will be coming up next, right after this broadcast. Immediately following this broadcast, Terra Cafe, Neil Dubo Law, personal injury attorney. So do look out for our advertisers. Again, we're talking with Pam Perry of Pam Perry PR. We've talked about a number of topics, including Donald Trump. one thing she's big on is programmatic media buying and programmatic advertising, and understanding how the new technology has weighed in and come together, and how advertisers use it, how businesses use it to advertise, and how Black media has to adapt, either accepting it, creating our own, or rejecting it. And most recently, we talked about passing the ball, ensuring that OGs like Pam Perry pass the ball to the next generation. And that's a two-part, like any relationship. We need the young people to listen, and we need the young people to share. We need the old people to listen, need the old people to share. Or not so young, not so old. Let's not get caught up in semantics, but we got to have this cross-generational communication. We can learn from each other. Never discount the wisdom of the elders. At the same time, don't try to shut these babies up. So, do check out these books. One is Unapologetically Black, came out in 2015. I talk about the interrelationship of business and politics. How I grew up in an entrepreneurial family. What the daily grind looks like. Any day, no day is the same. I was supposed to be over the National Press Club today with Hazel, but I got a call from Morgan yesterday about getting back to grad school, and that is my number one focus at this juncture. I will share with you that if it's time for you to go back to school, there are plenty of programs and resources out there for you to go back to school, to get your GED, to get your bachelor's, your master's, or whatever the case. Don't let anything prevent you from going back to school, especially if you already started. You got to finish. I've been on the bench for 20 years. Marriage happened, started a business, new baby, and school got pushed to the back burner. Any witnesses? Amen. But we're going to be back in school. I got 3 weeks to pull this thing together. And after I get off this broadcast, that's where I will be, headed to the library. Thought I was going to be at the National Press Club with Hazel Treese Edie. She's a publicist over in Washington, D.C. Hazel Treese Edie. She has the Edie News Network. And so, y'all set? Okay, yeah. All set now?
Yes.
Okay, you want to bring Rodney up?
Is Rodney here?
Yes.
Okay.
Rodney, put your picture on.
I don't see him in.
Rodney,
here he is.
I am here. My driver, for whatever reason, plug-in got reset. I don't have camera on this laptop for right now. I don't know what happened with the software update, but I have been here the whole time. Y'all was talking about Trump. Y'all done I was here the whole time. I
did not know that. I was wondering where you were because we sent you the link. So
yes.
You have audio only. So are you PC or Mac?
I'm on a MacBook, and it says that my camera isn't plugged in. I don't even know what that means.
Well, yeah, it has, but tell us, Rodney. Shine. Tell them who you are, what you do.
And so first of all, it is an honor to be in the studio with these two individuals. Y'all know them. Y'all have been hearing the banter. Pam Perry and Doni Glover know everybody. It blows my mind. You know, quick story, Doni, one of my first interactions with you wasn't even really a direct interaction. This was Politics 06 in Eden's Lounge, right? Whoa. Politics 06, Eden's Lounge. Pam, Eden's Lounge don't even exist in Bmore no more. But at that time, I had been following you, Doni, for quite some time. And
I was a character, Pam, to say the least.
I had been following Doni Glover for quite some time, and I was impressed. So this was back, Doni, during the time where Dr. Andre Bunley was running for mayor. right? And you knew all of them. You knew all of them at first by first name basis. And these guys, Pam, I was just breaking into the scene in Be More, right? Like I just was like, I'm going to help my city. Like I'm going to do this, right? And so all of these guys I looked up to, and I was surprised that they knew each other because without being in that world, I didn't know. Like I didn't know that Doc Cheatham was who he was. I didn't know Donnie was who he was. Then to Pam Perry, Donnie. Pam would be talking to us in her groups, or she took some of us under her wing, and she would just randomly say the first name of somebody. Oh, George. Oh, this person. I had no idea she was talking about George Frazier. I had no idea she was, this the publisher, the editor of this company or this corporation. So being connected to you two is an absolute honor. Y'all talk like old friends. Like, y'all talk like y'all been having these conversations forever. And it has been amazing to just kind of sit and absorb. So I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much for allowing me the time.
Oh, thank you. So you ran for a couple of offices, right?
Yes. So I held a very small, lightweight position in Be More from 2010 to 2014. I was on the state central committee. So that is a very kind of like little forget about it position, right?
But entry level.
It's entry level. When I hit it, Dr. Pam P, when I hit that position, I was everywhere. I'm on the radio up Morgan. I'm on Big Brother Larry's show. I'm all over. I'm down at City Hall. I'm submitting testimony. And so it got to the point where people started being like, call Rodney. And so I decided that I was going to use that to make impact. I was holding a citywide event. There's a gentleman, Donnie, Sherrod Barnes. I remember Sherrod called me like, Rodney, why are you doing all this big stuff in here? And I was like, he was like, who gave you permission? And I was like, nobody gave me permission. We work for the people. Like, right. I don't have a boss in this thing, right?
Shame on any elder who came at you with that kind of energy. Sounds like jealousy to me.
Well, you know what? I think that he was checking on me, like.
Sound like jealousy to me. I'm going to say it again.
I had a lot of initiative, and I'm very much one of those type people that believe in apologizing, but not asking for permission, just in general, as a rule of thumb.
If you have the energy and you see the vision, then I think people should go for it. If there is a need, then you see it, then you feel it. And I just always tell people that. I said, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You have a new vision for it and you go and create it. And that's what politics are for. It's really to rally up the people so that people can have better lives.
But Pam, this is the very change. This is the very generational change that we were talking about earlier. When we don't pass the ball to Rodney going to take the ball. And so if he took the ball, if we failed to pass him the ball, and that's how he felt, and he took the ball and ran with it and said, the hell with y'all, whose fault is it? It's both of our faults, but it starts with us because we're the elders.
Well, I can honestly say that I have been passed several balls. And you want to know something? I'm gonna use a basketball analogy. And one of the things that definitely can happen in a basketball game, if a play happened, Magic Johnson was famous for this, right? Loop the loop behind the back, no look pass. If you're not watching the Magic Johnsons, the Pam Perrys, the Donnie Glovers in your life that toss you an opportunity, right? If we in my generation don't pay attention to those, we're gonna miss those paths. Like everything is not hello, Rodney, you're a young up and comer. Why don't you come take this opportunity? One of Pam's statements that I love is those that show up,
go up.
Right?
Just showing up.
Just showing up. And so one of the things that
because I always think some things are caught and some things are taught. So you can't teach everybody. So some things are just caught just by showing up. I just really believe that. George never, quote unquote, formally mentored me, but I showed up everywhere he was and I just watched.
Yes.
So I just caught a lot of stuff. He didn't teach it. I just caught it. So I really do think just being around people. I mean, if you have an opportunity
to be around people rather look at you than look at George.
That make us look good, Donnie. You know what? Speaking of Dr. Frazier, man,
George
always has to start his speeches. yes, I am black, right? It's like, okay, George, we get that now. We know that, but a lot of people are like, he's black. It's like, yep, he has to start it that way. It's like he is the fairest black man
Yes.
that I have ever seen, but he's so black,
Yeah,
right?
he is
It's like
so pro us.
he's
You
so
know,
us, right?
he did a passing of the ball, Donnie, that I was a part of. So Dr. Pam Perry introduced me to Stan Matthews, and Stan did a book project, another anthology, and we were on the cover. It was Stan, it was Dr. Frazier, and it was myself, and it was everybody who was a part of that got a chance to produce a book with them on the cover with those two individuals. That book was a great piece for me. And then Stan's group, his organization, they came to DC. I forgot exactly what it was. I think Dr. Frazier was being honored by the vice president or something like that. And I got to be in the room at a small table. It was about 8 of us. And Dr. Frazier was there. So we laughed and we joked. And I know he's done this for hundreds of thousands of people over the course of his career and his journey. So I don't know if he remembers Rodney Seaburris. I do. And that's kind of like, to Pam's point, I caught being in that atmosphere. And it's just as important for us to look for those opportunities to take the ball, to pick it up, to pick up the water bottles, right? Just to kind of be there, just to kind of be in a space. And so I'm all about it. You've been doing this, Donnie, forever. I've always kind of been impressed with your bigness, your boldness. You don't second step. You don't second guess. You don't take it back. You mean what you say. You know what I mean? And you do it with courage, and you're unabashed about it. I respect that. What I don't like is kind of like tiptoeing around. I don't like that. Like, I'd rather be like, we're gonna do, and it's gonna be. It's my personality, and you embody that. So I'm glad to be in the building.
Rodney, what is your assignment?
So everything that I do is kind of rooted in this idea, this mindset that we can become different and better. Period. Right. And so whether I'm doing corporate trainings, whether I'm writing books, whether I taught college for about 10 years on Morgan's campus, Towson University, Essex College out CCBC. Everything that I do, Donnie, is rooted in this idea that we can become different and better than our statistics, than our background, than our zip codes, than our neighborhood. My father, bless his heart, heroin hit my family, right? Hard. And so I remember being young, going downtown to visit my dad, right? I remember running around Park Heights and be more, looking for my dad. I remember the good times because we had some years that were good as well. That on paper, Donnie, I should not be where I am today. So if the person made a list about the things that are my characteristics and my background, I have been almost expelled. I used to fight a lot. I come from a single parent home, drugs in my parents' background, not in my own, but that whole kind of thing. Domestic violence was a part of my history.
Rodney.
Yes, sir.
You can't run past that. Yes, Rodney, sir. You had every reason in the world to use or to sell.
Yes, sir.
How did you avoid that?
You want to know something? This is one of my favorite stories to tell. You just talk about somebody passing you the ball, Pam. This is one of my favorite stories. So when I was a teenager, I'm 41, right? So when I was a teenager, it was the 90s. And Tupac was on the radio. Snoop Dogg, Biggie was on the radio back then, right? And so Tupac's song Dear Mama was out. And he talked about not feeling guilty for getting in a drug game, that he was making a little bit of money that he could help with his sisters and his family. And so at that time, I'm the oldest. I have 2 younger sisters. We weren't eating a lot back then. My mom sometimes would have 2 or 3 weeks in between going to the grocery store. Can you imagine what that looks like? 2 or 3 weeks.
With 3 kids.
Sandwiches.
Yeah. Oh, man. All of that. And so.
Mayonnaise sandwiches.
Yes. Mike, what's something so funny, man? My kids, so my wife and I have 5 children. And I love to say that she got a lot of kids, Donnie. I don't know what that lady's deal was. My wife got a lot of kids, I tell you that much. But we got 5 kids in the home. And, my children tease me Because sometimes I still eat some of them syrup sandwiches, Donnie. You know, like sometimes I still get me I throw a hot dog and a bull egg and a pack of noodles. And so my kids be like, Dad, you're so poor, you know, like and they laugh, they high five each other. I'm like, if y'all don't get out of here, but it's all in fun. But
It's nostalgia,
it's
right?
nostalgia, right? I still like that stuff, but
It's survival.
that's right.
Because when you go away to college, they're gonna be eating syrup sandwiches and
Right.
oodles and noodles too. Everybody broke in college.
You know, Donnie, my daughter, so our oldest kids are twins, Aaliyah and Anthony. And Aaliyah is about to go to Morgan. So you've been talking a lot about Morgan. My daughter's about to go there. But so this is what happened with the drug game. We were walking, it was a group of us. We was walking away. We was maybe about 12 or 13, something like that. And there was these older guys that lived near us that was, you know, they was hustling, they played basketball. We thought they was the coolest cats in the world, right? And one of them was following us. It was like, y'all slow down, little shorties. Let me talk to you real quick. Let me holler at you. And so my guys kind of kept walking, but I slowed down. And he was like, you know, I need some help. He's like, I got some work coming in, you know, and if you help me out, you get half whatever you sell. You sell 25, it's 50, you get 25. You sell 100, you get 50. And that sounded like opportunity, bro. Like that sounded like money. Around the same time, there was a gentleman that worked at my mother's job. She worked for Care First, and he had a son that was my age, and he would take me under his wing, take me out to the movies and stuff like that. And he picked me up. He came through. He was like, "Hey, what you doing?" I was like, "Nothing." The timing was crazy. He was like, "Get in the car. Let's go get something to eat." I went out to eat with him and his son. That intervention, as crazy as those stars aligning, that intervention, Donnie, probably did more to course correct me in that moment than, because I knew what happens in the game, right? Like, you know what happens in the game. I wasn't blind to that, but it was an opportunity. And so you're right. I should have been, I could have been, but it was due to mentors and givers in my life. Like
I also hear the hand of God.
It was the hand of God, absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Distracting you.
Said that you got to show up. So he showed up and you showed up.
That's right.
Pam says you got to show up. 90% of it is showing up.
Showing up. And I could have hit him with the whole, "Oh man, not right now," or something like that. I got in the car, and that's kind of to that whole idea of, one, he passed me the ball. He actively came to get me. I appreciate that. I could have dropped the ball. I could have not caught the pass. And so it's just as important to us. The last thing I say, I'm not going to overtalk this. One of the exercises that I love to do, Donnie, in my trainings, I do this thing where I help people see opportunities that are in front of their face the whole time. And the way I do that is I have everybody cover their eyes with their left hand, right? And so everybody's like, left hand, what's going on? And I make them think of everything in the room that's orange. And I give them about 8 seconds. They open their eyes and can't nobody think of nothing. Just so you see Donnie's face, man. Can't nobody think of nothing in the room that's orange. And then they start looking around. And it's like, oh, that's okay. That's orange. That's orange. And then I do it again. And I have them left hand cover and think of everything in the room that's green. Now, they know ain't nothing in the room that's green, right? They just looked around, but they were triggered to orange. They open their eyes and they see the green. And I point out, ain't nobody come while our eyes was closed and switch out the room. These guys, there we go. It's been there the whole time. It's been there the whole time. And so as these green lights pop in front of us, and if we don't look for the opportunity, if we don't have the mindset that this is possible, it could be in a room the whole time. We'll never get it.
You just have to focus. That is it. You just have to focus. That is so true. There's something coming up in the DC area with Dr. Cheryl Wood, Trenton Shelton, Lisa Nichols, and Gloria Mayfield, July 12th.
Gloria Mayfield? Do you know Gloria?
She's from Detroit.
She is. So
I know her whole family.
So you know Ken?
I don't know Ken. I know Gloria. I know Gloria. I know Amy. I know Wendy and her other sister Pam. So I know.
I only know Gloria, but her and Ken have a show. They've just done their 4th show. It's on YouTube called Banking on the Banks.
Is that cute or what? Oh yeah, you know what? I did see that because it was hilarious because they were doing something in the kitchen and she was just she is hilarious. She is amazing. She went to Harvard. You know that. She's a national director of Mary Kay, the first African American. But her sister is no joke either. Sister went to the Olympics. The other sister was over Fashion Fair Cosmetics. You know how that go, right? Her sister was the president of Fashion Fair Cosmetics, and she's national sales director of Mary Kay. I wonder how those Christmases went. She has another sister that's a writer, ghostwriter.
And where's the book on Detroit?
There is a book on Detroit.
Like the Black Wall Street, because there in Detroit it was called Black Bottom.
Yes. There is a book on Detroit. Actually, I just promoted her book earlier this year. Darylyn Walker. Her book is called. It's called Detroit Super Cities. Detroit. Yep. Darylyn Walker shines a new light on the hidden historical gems in the Motor City. So yeah,
Darylyn.
Pardon me.
How do you spell Darylyn?
Darylyn, Dara, and then Lynn, Walker. I'll put it in the chat over here. Yeah, but
man,
yeah,
we got to do this a little more often. Rodney, what else you want to what else you want to school people on?
Man, thanks to Pam's tutelage and getting me polished and ready for the media, Doni. I have landed a phenomenal contract with the Department of Education, the Federal Department of Education. They have 4,000 federal employees. That's right, man. And I
gotta get me one of those, Pam.
We have these too. Woo!
Yes.
Man, you have too much fun. Come on, Rodney.
Yeah. I'm training their leadership teams, man, across the different divisions that they have within the department. And an amazing thing about it is I get to be creative. I never thought that I would get to be in a creative space within the government. I'm an outsider. I'm a contractor, right? I'm no consultant, but the way it's working out, they express these needs to somebody that work inside of one of the divisions that do talent and development training. And any of the overflow, they've been calling me like, hey, Rodney, this team needs a such and such, and this team needs a change management process. I create these trainings. I just did one yesterday, and I deliver it for them. It is amazing.
Wow. I love that. That was what you were made for. I mean, that's really like one of the things you were made for. Leadership training was your thing. You talked about it all the time. That is it. I
wouldn't have been able to do it, Doni. The way I met Pam, I wouldn't have been able to do it.
How'd you meet her?
I met her in my wasn't together. So online, I didn't have no photographs, man. I didn't have good videos.
You had a little raggedy video. I was like, what is that? You couldn't even hear the sound. I'm like, what?
I had a raggedy little website that was like one page that was.
Why didn't you give up on him, Pam?
He had the it factor. The passion was evident. The passion was evident, but the polishing wasn't there. The passion was evident. So he had the it factor because wherever he goes, he's going to have that passion. Yeah. He helps people with mindset. I didn't even know his backstory. I didn't know about, the drugs and all that. I didn't even know, but you could tell there was something different about Rodney in terms of
he dodged the bullet of death.
Yes. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
The dope man, hey, when the dope man comes, you better have that damn money.
That's right.
If you ain't got it, your mother better have it. If your mother ain't got it, your father better. You better have my money.
Yeah,
man.
He dodged the bullet of death. He gave you the clean version.
Yeah, it's so many people in my family back during that time. It was rampant in Detroit as well, crack and all of that, and the Young Boys Incorporated, the YBs, and it was just crazy.
Yeah, that
the factories at that time, they were laying off people. And so a lot of people were being laid off from these good corporate, factory jobs. And they were just sitting around getting these unemployment checks that were running out. And they decided to say, somebody came along and said, hey, why don't you sell some crack? It just was dumped in the city, right? Like, how did that happen? But anyway, so it's dumped in the city. And then everybody got cracked out. Either they were selling or using. One or the other. And it just tore up Detroit. It did. It just tore up our city.
Tore Baltimore.
That's right.
Tore Brooklyn, Harlem, DC.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's coming back around. So that's what I'm doing these days. I owe a lot of my opportunity to lead trailblazers like yourself, watching you, Pam, watching you, Doni, just kind of taking those opportunities, catching them. You didn't know I was in the room. right? Talking about, some things are taught and some things are caught. I have been in rooms and spaces with you, Doni, outside and inside, down City Hall for years, and I've learned so much. So fast forward when I meet Pam, and she was like, "You gotta meet Doni, and you gotta such and such." I was like, "Wow, these people know everybody. These people." It just feels good to be connected, to be in what I believe are the right places, and I'm looking to grow and help us go at the same time.
Mm-hmm. And I always say people are one connection from whatever their next destiny is. And it just pays to be nice to everybody. Be nice to everybody. Never be that diva where you just think, oh, well, they're not really quote unquote about that or whatever. You never know where people are going. You never know who they know. As a publicist, I know that to be true. Sometimes I work with some people and it's like, well, I don't want to go on that show. I don't, what is their reach? What is, it's like, you don't know who they know. They could be cousins to Oprah. You just never know. So I'm like, you have to just be nice to everybody and just make that your
I
thing.
want to speak to the secretary. I want to be especially nice to the secretary and the janitor.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The secretary and the janitor.
Right.
They know everybody and know all the dirt on everybody too.
Pam, I see people going into a building. They don't want to speak to the secretary.
Right.
They don't want to. They're too proud to speak to the maintenance man, not knowing the maintenance man is a recovering gangster and know everybody plus everybody.
Right.
But you went in there and disrespected him, not knowing he could have your wig split before you get back out that door. Or he could take you to the CEO's office because the janitor got the keys to everybody's office and he know everybody's schedule.
That's right. Yes. Yes.
Everybody is important.
That's right.
Yeah, it is. That's the bottom line. Everybody is important. It really is. Everybody is important. And people who are quote unquote thinking that they're better than someone, they're going to get left behind. They just will. They'll be left behind.
Let's see your magazines one more time. What's the next edition coming up?
The next one is April 1st, which is tomorrow. So that will be up tonight at midnight. This is the March issue. This was the one that was the Women's History one. All women in this issue. Tara Caressa, she's out of Atlanta. Powerful. This woman right here, I interviewed her yesterday. She knew at 16 that she wanted to be a speaker preacher. She forego going to like a amusement park and headed to Women Thou Art Loose. And at 16, seeing Juanita Bynum. And then when you hear her, she has like 1 million people following her online. When you hear her, she's a young woman. She's like not even 40. When you hear her, she does have that Juanita Bynum kind of a sound, very prophetic. I mean, just creative. She's got greeting cards. She does training. She does training with celebrities. I mean, just amazing, amazing. Just became a new mom as well. Her whole story is in there. And then April, we've got a cover of a young lady that's doing an event in Vegas. So that's really good. It's about a book launch and the glamour and the style around all that and how she does that. She's done like 30 anthologies. So she's really pulling together. It's called the Boss Up Movement. Women Boss Up, right? Because that was her main thing. This lady here, Dee Dee Trotter, she's an Olympian here. Dr. Tanisha Guy, she was at the Leadership Experience. There's Ashley Scott. Brian Oles. Yeah, Brian Oles is in there. He's from the Baltimore area.
Yeah,
Brian, LinkedIn. He's a LinkedIn celebrity.
Yeah.
Is he a LinkedIn celebrity? Go on, Brian. Okay.
Yeah, he's a LinkedIn celebrity.
Okay. He's on that TikTok too. So he's just all over the place. But he's Black Speakers Network. We're the official magazine of BSN, Black Speakers Network. So yeah, he talks about
congratulations, Brian.
Yeah.
He's more Doni. He lives right here.
I don't know if you know Nick Colbert. I believe she's in the DMV area. She has an organization called The Bow.
Was she a lawyer?
Yes, she's an attorney. Yep.
There in DC.
Yes, she is. She basically is taking a lot of African American women in an organization called The Bow and really giving them access to capital and mentoring them to scale up to multi-million-dollar businesses. That's what Nick does. Mm-hmm.
Well, Pam, we want to commend you for being a hustler because hey, Rodney, she is no slouch. She wouldn't be on here. Rodney, she is a hustler. That's
right.
what I love about her.
That's right. That's right.
There's a Nicole Roberts Jones and a lot of doctors now. Dr. Tamik Brown. Just amazing. People are going back to school, getting their masters, getting their PhDs. I'm like,
going back to grad school and getting out.
Yes.
Then I'm going back to get the PhD. There's no need. Hey.
That's right.
Didn't come all this way to stop now.
Oh my God. That is amazing.
Pam, let's do your finals. Well, Rodney, why don't you do your spiel and then we'll let Pam go.
Yes.
Give her the final word.
Absolutely. So I would love to stay in contact with any or everybody that likes what we're talking about. It's very easy to find me. I am Rodney C. Burris on everything. Your Insta, your TikTok, your LinkedIn, your Twitter, RodneyCBurris.com. If being different and better vibes with you and you believe there's ways we can collaborate and work together, I'm open for a discussion. So Doni, again, thank you so much for your example. Pam, thank you so much for pushing me and giving me opportunity. I'm grateful.
Man, you got the final word. Take as long as you want. Thank you for sharing your expertise with us. I also want to thank your family for sharing you with us, because sometimes, this business keeps us with late hours and early mornings. So thank you to your family for sharing you with us. And thank you for being awesome.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Well, one of the main things too, that want to make sure that you know what the media is looking for. You want to tell your story. So go to PamPerryPR.com. Tell us, we'll tell the world, we'll tell it through press releases, we'll tell it through podcasts, we'll tell it through TV interviews, we'll tell it through obviously articles, obviously through Speakers Magazine. So go to PamPerryPR.com. One of the things that we help you also do is get ready for the media. You can go to ReadySetGoSpeak.com. That's a program where we just help you get ready so that you can get out there and go speak. I have a podcast where I interview, like I was telling Doni earlier, where you can hear two PR colleagues and media people kind of talk shop about what's really expected and what the media really wants, so you can get out there and get known. So that's the name of the podcast there. So quick media coverage. If you're looking for that, I made it really simple. Click a button, get it, pick your PR package, and you can get out there and get known. That's it. That's it, Doni. You there?
I am, Mama. Thank you. Thank you for everything. Great job. You have the prettiest eyes, Pam. But let me not get in nobody no trouble today. Okay?
Thank you. You hear I got all my little sounds and my little
got a whole sound system.
Oh my God, I love it. And I really bought it for the applause, but then they have other sounds in this too.
What is that called? What is that machine called?
It's called the Rodecaster.
Oh,
it's the Rodecaster. And I don't think I really set it up correct. It should really go through the thing. But anyway, it's like my toy. It's the Rodecaster Pro.
ROAD?
RODE.
Rodecaster.
Rodecaster Pro. It's one of those things where it's like a little board that sits on the side. It kind of looks like a TV thing. It's so cool. And I'm like, oh my God, it's got these little buttons on it.
Do you use it in your private conversations?
No. When I first got it, my husband's like, please, just I did on Clubhouse and I was hitting too many buttons. It was like, okay, that's way too much. You are just so extra. And I was on Clubhouse and I was like, okay, I'm using all the buttons. It's like,
do you still do Clubhouse?
I have not done Clubhouse. The last time I did Clubhouse was September. And I remember it was like, be intentional in September. And then I haven't done it since. And I think I'm gonna get back to it. I just launched a quick media coverage, so I was taking a little break. So I think I'll get back to it. I do like Clubhouse. I really do.
That's the challenge though, because there's so many different things. And I had to just stick to what I do. This show streams on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. And then after Facebook took my page with 200,000, I didn't have as much. I don't trust Facebook no more.
Yeah.
So you know, you gotta, and then you don't own any of them.
That's
No,
right.
you don't.
That's right.
You got to
Our
download
own
them.
Be More News, our own Black USA. So we have to be conscious
Yeah.
of what we own and when we are in someone else's house.
Yeah, you got to be an owner, not just a renter. That's for sure. I tell that to people all the time. You know, they'll lose their mind because they lost the Instagram, took my page down, blah, this and that. I said, well, I hope you had email us. No, I didn't. You know, who really taught me that? This was years ago. Remember Michael Baisden? And they took
Yeah.
Michael Baisden off of the radio and that kind of thing. And then he started streaming and he built his list back up. But before that, it was like Michael Baisden was at the mercy of the radio station.
He was an employee.
Yes.
And
yes.
he stepped out there like he was the boss when he wasn't quite the boss.
Right.
He thought he was, but he forgot.
And they took him down. Yep, they took him down. I used to love Michael Baisden. He was one of the fresh voices. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I said it.
He was all right.
He was good. He was good. He was before his time, I think. You know, he was kind of like before his time. You know,
We
because
all had some running to do. I was a big Tavis Smiley fan. Tavis Smiley was the first national star that did business with me.
Wow.
So I will always be a fan. I don't care what they say about Tavis Smiley. He was the first cat to give me a shot. And then Roland Martin gave me a shot on national TV.
Wow.
And we should never forget those people who passed us the ball.
Yeah, and they both have their own properties now too. They learned. I mean, Tavis owns, I think it's KJLA in Los Angeles, a radio station, and then I think Roland owns Black Star Media Network. So he owns it, and so we do need to be owners. We do need to be owners.
Yes,
we've
made these other people stars.
Yes,
We've made advertising money for them. Yes, Speakers Magazine. Honestly, we should be branding speakers every chance we get.
Yeah.
You brand us, we brand you.
Yep, that is it. And that's the only way. I mean, nothing wrong with like saying, "Oh, I have a show on PBS," but you don't own PBS. PBS can take you down.
Pam, you have done that through COVID. Pam, let me just commend you. I did a publication for 6 months, and I said, "The hell with this! I'm going to do a website." A publication, Rodney, is hard work.
Yeah, through COVID was tough. It was really tough. I mean, because primarily we're on the scene for events that are live. And we did not have live events in 2020.
You had to pivot.
Yeah.
We had to pivot.
That's why I wanted to commend your family, including your husband, because he's a part of the business too, whether he like it or not.
He is part of the business. He is part of the business, whether he likes it or not. He's going to the post office, dropping off packages and all that kind of stuff.
And so, you know, we celebrate him. I celebrate the people who help me that people don't see. The people like Rondi Griffin, the people that help me to do the events around town. I can't do this alone. We have a whole network of people. We have people on this network from Oakland, LA, New York, a new lady from Richmond. Well, she's originally from New York, all the way down to DC. We were in Atlanta and Miami, but they took a pause. So we need each other, and however I can be of service to you, Pam, I promise. Until I have no breath, I will always help.
All right. I think I'm going to be in the DMV area. Well, obviously for Cheryl's event. That's in July, where I'm see Gloria Mayfield Bank, but also I believe there's one in Richmond as well. It's a podcast
any events
thing.
You want me to plug, just send them to me and I will get them up. Same with you, Rodney.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Thank you for joining us. Happy Friday to you. Thank you for taking me.
All right.
Come
Thank
on, one
you,
more
guys.
sound. Just one more sound.
Yes. Yes. All right, folks.
I love it. I love it. Thank you, guys. This has been fun. What a great way to start the weekend.
Yes, ma'am.
All
Let's
right.
go.
Talk to you. Thank you. Thank you, Donnie. All
Yes,
right,
ma'am.
Rodney.
Thank you.
We'll see you later. Bye-bye.